So I've been thinking a little bit more about this 57,000 people number killed by Henry VIII. And I've been reading a lot more around it. I've been reading or trying to find out as much as possible about what happened to monks and nuns and friars and so on after the monasteries were dissolved. Um, what I managed to find out, like one nun, one abbess, I think just went back to her noble family and lived out her days, we would assume. But what quite a lot of them did, they when the monasteries were first being dissolved, they they leave the monastery, sure, and be like, well, what are we going to do now? Is that, well, we can go work in the fields or in a pub, which actually some of them did. They opened an ale house apparently, which was kind of cool, I thought. But their tendency, it seems, was to then regroup and form religious communities in sort of houses paid for with their pensions given to them. And I I hate to say it, but yeah, when they're reforming new religious communities, yeah, that wouldn't have been going on indefinitely, now would it? I think that would have been the pattern with monks and nuns after the monasteries were dissolved. So what I'm not trying to say is that, oh, Henry just went into the monasteries and was like, kill them all, and like massacre them. Like, that's not recorded. We know that didn't happen. Yeah, okay, because later on in the Elizabethan era, we're going to find ourselves in the age of priest holes. If you're a Catholic family or an Anglican family, but who are now but who are really Catholic, then you might have a priest hole in your house, and there's loads of these. This is rather common for biggish houses to hide a priest in the house using a priest hole. And if the priest was found, well, they'd be executed, wouldn't they? I mean, surely. So, yeah, these like new religious communities popping up. What's really going to happen? Yeah, initially after the dissolution, given a pension, etc., etc., etc. Like, do it all nicely, and yeah, take all their gold plate and all their lovely ornaments and books and whatnot. But then, like, they take their books to new location, and new people want to join the monastic life, and well, there's a problem there, isn't there? So this doesn't seem likely to me that we go from this period where, and there's not really an awful lot of information out there about this, have been happening too often, that within a re-rise of Catholicism in Britain, these communities have been growing, some of them, and well, then again, there's another issue, and in an effort to quell this, I would have suspected that Henry actually would have been forced to execute, yes, a lot of people, large enough, yeah, 57,000. I've heard one article say it's probably an exaggeration, but then again, how biased are you, or unbiased? Are you a British person writing this by any chance? No one knows how many people got killed here. And it's very troubling. Very, very troubling. So what am I going to do? After Reformation, I'll just do England Reformation timeline. Yeah. No, obviously, and all sorts of dissenters rising up, plotting against the monarchy, so on, plotting against the new Anglican Church or figures within it. Anyone doing anything like that, they'll be going up on the chopping block. And I reckon that, yeah, executions would have been sort of steadily rising and rising during the dissolution of the monasteries and afterwards, if I were to go out on a limb and suspect that. This is another example of some propagandistic nationalist bullshit we find in English history. I was trying to find out about the witch burnings in Britain the other day. I guess it was like, oh, a witch trials? Oh, we had those. Oh, we hanged about 1,600 witches. None were burned. We don't burn witches in the UK. No, we hang them. I was like, no, I mean in the Middle Ages. I'm like, right, so what, none? At all? During the witch burnings? Like, it happened all over Europe, didn't it? We have the Inquisition, we had the Inquisition in Europe, we had Catholicism. You expect me to believe that not one witch was burned at the stake in Britain. Witch burnings in England, here we go. Okay, yeah, here we go. Witchcraft was a felony in both England and its American colonies, and therefore witches were hanged, not burned. However, witches' bodies were burned in Scotland, though they were strangled to death first. I'm sorry. Okay, right. And then I'm going to go witch burnings, just without the England after it. So, now I want the ones after, in the sort of the 15th century, was it? Witch hunts. Oh Christ, there's a lot here. Later Middle Ages, here we go. Okay, Yeah, Joan of Arc, I mean, the British burned her at the stake. Yeah, so this was happening, this was widespread in Europe. But what, not in England? What, it wasn't happening here, the witch burnings? No, it didn't happen here. That was France and Holy Roman Empire and Spain, famously, Italy. No. It's like, come on. Why don't we know about that? Because they got rid of all the documents from the monasteries. And there is one sort of political benefit to getting rid of all the monks, or making an example of at least 200 of them. They wouldn't be writing about it. And you haven't got any monks, you don't have any people writing stuff down, so you don't have anyone to tell you what actually went on. And possibly, given the increasingly paranoid nature of Henry's regime after the dissolution of the monasteries, I'd imagine like quite a few people just wouldn't be bothering about writing stuff down like that. And probably lots of people are not getting told anything about what's really going on. And some new sort of clusterings of Catholic monastic communities gradually getting shut down and disappeared, basically. I haven't been able to find much. I don't think there's a huge amount out there about what happens to these people, these monks, nuns, friars, etc., after the dissolution. It's very, very sad and very mysterious. And it's got an unfortunate homophobic element to it all as well. You know, saying, there's rampant sodomy going on in the monasteries. I was like, well, yeah, it would attract that sort of guy, wouldn't it? Probably set up in part for that purpose. To protect them from the rest of society. And you know, like love between two guys. You know, like in the monastery, like they're like, we'll look the other way, it's fine. And this was going on like, before the dissolution of the monasteries. It was like obviously homophobic smear campaigns against them, and you know, building resentment and hatred among the public, the monks and monasteries and Catholicism, tolerating sodomy, all that sort of stuff. As like that has happened a few times in history, as I understand it. And so lends credibility is like maybe it was like kill them all. I don't know. What would Henry VIII do? Like, apparently they were given pensions and just told to leave. I want to like figure that out though. But like, when was that source written? And where are they getting that idea from? And who was it? This article written by? I bet someone with a bit of bias at least. We don't like this stuff. Ooh. Monks after dissolution of monasteries. Here we go. And this English Heritage webpage that I read, that a hell of a lot of information about what happened, what monasteries were, how they operated, what the Reformation was about, and and then get to a little bit. Some nuns went and opened an ale house. No, okay. That's an amusing little story. The majority seem to have started reforming religious communities. They don't know anything else. Like attending like with all the monks there, sodomy. It's like, oh, God. Like, was it a monastery? Oh fuck! It's sodomy going on in there, and in all the local communities, like they're like, oh, we're fucked. I wonder how we can figure out the statistics for how many people were executed for sodomy. Is sodomy executable? What pension was it they were given again? It was £5 a year something. 14,000 monks and nuns. Times 5. Oh, maths don't fail me now. 8, 16, 20, £60,000. I'm going to do the math. Fuck it. That's loads of money. Would you pay that really? I think he'd get 1.5 million out of plundering the monasteries. It's tricky. But the fact we don't know how many people he killed, I think I suppose we don't really know how many people Ivan the Terrible killed. I know about the Novgorod massacre. Then the initial estimate for that was 60,000 people, but then source like said, that was a biased source. So like estimates range from a very precise number of named victims to something like 2,356 or something to 20,000. Like, right.